The space station floated in the darkness between stars. It was called Meridian 12, and it was the biggest training center in the entire galaxy. Every year, thousands of aliens came here to learn how to work on starships. They came from hundreds of different worlds. Some had blue skin. Some had 4 arms. Some were made of crystal. But none of them had ever seen a human before. Today, that was going to change. Commander Yuna stood in the arrival hall. She had pale purple skin and 4 yellow eyes. Her species, the Category, were known for being calm and logical. But right now, she felt nervous. She kept checking the time on her wrist device. "The human ship is docked," said a voice behind her. Yuna turned to see instructor Hana walking toward her. Hana was a Valori, with soft blue skin that rippled like water when she felt strong emotions. Right now, her skin was moving a lot. "I read the files on Earth," Hana said. Her voice was quiet. "Their planet is insane." "Insane how?" Yuna asked. "Where do I start?" Hana pulled up a hologram from her tablet. Images floated in the air between them. Their world has massive storms that can destroy entire cities. The ground shakes and splits open. Mountains shoot fire into the sky. The weather changes so fast that they can have burning heat and freezing cold in the same week. Yuna blinked all 4 of her eyes one at a time. This was something she did when she was confused. And they survive all of this? Not just survive. They thrive. There are billions of them. Hana shook her head. "I do not understand how any species can evolve on such a world and not go extinct." The doors to the arrival hall opened with a soft hiss. Both women turned to look. A young man walked through. He was average height, with black hair and brown eyes. He wore the simple gray uniform of a new cadet. There was nothing special about him at first glance. He looked soft, fragile even. His skin was a warm tan color, and he had a small smile on his face as he looked around the station. His name was Taiho, and he was the first human to ever train at Meridian 12. He looked so ordinary, Hana whispered. Yuna had to agree. She had expected something more impressive. The reports on humans had made them sound almost frightening. But this young man looked like a gentle breeze could knock him over. Taiho spotted them and walked over. He bowed his head slightly in greeting. "Hello, I am Taiho from Earth. I was told to report to Commander Yuna." "I am Yuna," the commander said. "Welcome to Meridian 12. This is Instructor Hana. She will be leading your training unit." Taiho bowed to Hana as well. "Thank you for having me. I will work hard." Hana studied him with her large, dark eyes. "You will be training with 3 other cadets. They are all Valori, like me. Have you ever worked with other species before?" "No," Taiho admitted. "Earth only recently joined the Galactic Union. You were the first aliens I have ever met in person." He smiled again. "But I have studied many files. I know that Valori do not like loud noises or sudden movements. I will try to be calm." Hana was surprised. The human had done research. That was a good sign. Yuna led them through the station to the cadet quarters. The halls were wide and clean, filled with aliens of all shapes and sizes. Many of them stopped to stare at Taiho. Whispers followed them everywhere. "Is that a human? I heard their planet is a death world. They look so weak. How are they even alive?" Taiho heard the whispers, but did not react. He just kept walking with that same calm expression on his face. They arrived at a large room with 4 beds. 3 Valori cadets were already inside. They jumped to attention when the commander entered. "Cadets, this is Taiho from Earth," Yuna announced. "He will be joining your training unit starting today. I expect you to treat him with respect." The 3 Valori looked at Taiho with a mix of curiosity and fear. Their blue skin rippled nervously. I am Ji Woo, said the first one. She was small and delicate, with large eyes that blinked rapidly. I am Doyen, said the second. He was taller than the others, with darker blue skin. And I am Minho, said the third. He seemed the most nervous of all. He kept backing away slightly, as if Taiho might suddenly attack. Taiho bowed to each of them. I am happy to meet you all. Please take care of me. After Yuna and Hannah left, an awkward silence filled the room. The Valori cadets did not know what to say. They just kept staring at the human. Taeho walked to his bed and started unpacking his small bag. He moved slowly and quietly, careful not to startle his new roommates. Is it true? Minho suddenly asked. Taeho looked up. Is what true? That your planet tries to kill you. All the time. Taeho thought about this for a moment. Then he laughed softly. It was a warm sound, not scary at all. I suppose that is one way to see it, he said. Earth has many dangers. Storms, earthquakes, floods, but we are used to it. It is just home. How can you be used to such things? Jiwoo asked. Her voice was barely a whisper. Taiho sat down on his bed and looked at them with kind eyes. Because we have no choice. Our ancestors learned to survive. They passed that knowledge to us. Every generation gets a little better at living with the danger. That sounds terrifying, Dain said. Maybe, Taiho agreed. But it also made us strong. When you face danger every day, you stop being afraid of it. You learn to adapt. The Valori cadets exchanged glances. They did not fully understand what the human meant, but they could see that he was not afraid. That simple fact was both comforting and deeply unsettling. That night, as the station lights dimmed for sleep cycle, Minho lay awake thinking. The human in the bed across from him slept peacefully, his breathing slow and steady. No fear, no tension. Just rest. What kind of world created beings like this? And what would tomorrow bring when training began? Minho had a feeling they were all about to find out. The morning alarm woke everyone at the same time. Taiho sat up in his bed and stretched his arms. He felt good. The station's air was clean and the temperature was perfect. Much nicer than summer back home. The Valori cadets were already awake. They moved around the room quietly, getting dressed and preparing for the day. Jiwoo kept glancing at Taiho when she thought he was not looking. Dohyun pretended to read something on his tablet. Minho just stood in the corner, watching. Good morning, Taiho said with a smile. Good morning, the three Valori replied at the same time. Their voices were stiff and formal. Taiho did not mind. He understood that they were nervous around him. He would just have to show them that he was not dangerous. That would take time. After breakfast in the station cafeteria, Instructor Hannah gathered the training unit in the simulation deck. This was a massive room filled with advanced technology. The walls, floor, and ceiling could create any environment. Mountains, oceans, alien planets. Anything the instructors wanted. Today we will run your first major simulation, Hannah announced. Her skin rippled with something that looked like worry. The scenario has been assigned by High Command directly. Jiwoo raised her hand. What scenario, instructor? Hannah hesitated. She looked at her tablet, then back at the cadets. Category-7 atmospheric event. The reaction was instant. The three Valori cadets went pale. Their blue skin turned almost white. Minho actually stumbled backward. Category-7? Dohyun's voice cracked. That is impossible. We are first-year cadets. Category-7 is the hardest simulation. It is meant for graduates with years of experience. I know, Hannah said quietly, but the order came from the top. There is nothing I can do. Taiho looked at his teammates. He had never seen such fear on anyone's face before. What is Category-7? He asked. Jiwoo turned to him with wide, terrified eyes. It is the worst weather simulation we have. Wind speeds over 300 kilometers per hour. Extreme temperatures, lightning, acid rain. No one passes Category 7 on their first try. Many experienced crews fail it too. People have died in that simulation, Minho added. His voice was shaking. The safety systems stop most injuries, but the stress alone can kill some species. Taiho nodded slowly. He looked up at the ceiling, thinking. 300 kilometers per hour. That was strong, but not impossible. We will be fine, he said simply. Everyone stared at him. Fine? Do-hyun repeated. Did you not hear what we just said? This simulation has killed people. I heard, Taiho said. But panicking will not help us. We need to stay calm and work together. He looked at Instructor Hana. Will you be joining us in the simulation? Hana nodded. Yes, I will be there to observe and assist if needed. But the goal is for you to survive using your own skills. Then we have 5 people, Taiho said. That is good. 5 people can do a lot if they work as a team. The Valori cadets did not look convinced. But something about the human's calm voice made them feel slightly better. Only slightly. Hana led them to the center of the simulation deck. She pressed a button on her tablet, and the room began to change. The walls disappeared. The floor became rocky ground. The ceiling transformed into a dark purple sky filled with swirling clouds. Cold wind began to blow, getting stronger every second. Simulation starting, a computer voice announced. Category 7 atmospheric event. Location: Planet Vexor 6. Objective: reach the extraction point 15 kilometers east. Time limits: 6 hours. The wind hit them hard. Jiwoo screamed as she was pushed sideways. Do-hyun grabbed a rock to keep himself steady. Minho fell to his knees, covering his face with his arms. Taiho leaned into the wind. His feet were planted firmly on the ground. His eyes were focused on the horizon. This is insane, Minho shouted over the roar of the wind. We need to find shelter now. He is right, Hana called out. Her voice was tight with fear. Category 7 winds will tear us apart if we stay exposed. We need cover immediately. Taiho scanned the landscape. Rocks, dust, a few dead trees bent sideways by the constant wind. And there, to the east, a line of cliffs with dark shadows beneath them. There, he pointed. Those cliffs. See the shadows? There might be caves or at least an overhang. We can use that for shelter. How do you know? Jiwoo asked. Wind moves faster over flat ground, Taiho explained. But it has to go around or over obstacles. If we get behind those cliffs, the wind will be weaker. We can rest and make a plan. Hana stared at the human. He was not panicking at all. In fact, he looked almost comfortable. You have done this before? She asked. Something like this, Taiho said. Korea has big storms, typhoons. When I was young, my grandmother taught me how to survive them. He started walking toward the cliffs. Come on, stay low and follow me. If the wind pushes you, do not fight it. Let it push you, then correct your path when it dies down for a moment. The Valori had no choice but to follow. They stumbled and fell many times. Their light bodies were not built for this kind of weather. But Taiho was always there, helping them up, guiding them forward. It took them an hour to reach the cliffs. By then, Minho was exhausted. Jiwoo could barely stand. Even Do-hyun, the strongest of the Valori, was breathing hard. Taiho found a deep overhang in the rock. It was not a cave, but the cliff had blocked most of the wind. He helped everyone inside, then stood at the entrance, looking out at the storm. We rest here for 30 minutes, he said. Then we keep moving. Moving? Minho was shocked. In this? We should stay here until the simulation ends. We cannot, Taiho said. The objective is to reach the extraction point. If we stay here, we fail. Besides, he looked up at the swirling clouds. This storm is moving. In a few hours, this shelter might not be safe anymore. We need to stay ahead of it. How do you know which way the storm is moving? Hannah asked. Taiho pointed at the clouds. See how they rotate? And the direction of the lightning? The storm is moving northwest. We are going east. If we move fast enough, we can stay on the edge of it instead of in the center. The Valori looked at each other. They had trained for years in weather patterns and survival techniques. But none of them had noticed what Taiho had seen in just minutes. You are different from what I expected, Hannah said quietly. Taiho glanced at her. What did you expect? I do not know. Something more dramatic? You are so calm. It is strange. Taiho laughed softly. My grandmother always said that panic is a luxury. When you are in real danger, you do not have time to be scared. You just act. He sat down against the rock wall and closed his eyes. Rest now. We have a long way to go. Outside, the storm raged on. Thunder shook the ground. Lightning painted the sky in purple and white. The wind screamed like a living thing, but inside the shelter, the human rested peacefully. And slowly, one by one, the Valori began to believe that maybe they could survive this after all. 30 minutes passed quickly. The storm outside had not gotten weaker. If anything, it was worse. But Taiho stood up and looked at his team. Time to move, he said. Minho groaned. His whole body hurt from the earlier struggle against the wind. Can we not wait a little longer? No, Taiho said. He did not sound mean about it, just firm. The longer we wait, the harder this gets. The storm is growing, and our bodies are getting tired. We need to use the energy we have now. He was right, and everyone knew it. One by one, the Valori stood up. Hannah helped Jiwoo to her feet. The small cadet looked exhausted, but there was something new in her eyes. Determination. What is the plan? Dohun asked. Taiho picked up a rock and drew a rough map on the ground. We are here. The extraction point is here, about 12 kilometers away now. If we go in a straight line, we will be walking directly into the worst part of the storm. Then what do we do? Minho asked. We curve around. Taiho drew a curved line on his map. We go southeast first, toward the edge of the storm. Then we turn northeast toward the extraction point. It is a longer path, maybe 15 kilometers total. But the wind will be weaker, and we will have more cover from these rock formations. Hannah studied the map. That is smart thinking. But how do you know where the edge of the storm is? The clouds tell you, Taiho said. He pointed outside. See how they are darker in the center? The edge is where they start to thin out. Also, the wind direction changes at the edge. Right now, the wind is coming from the west. When we reach the edge, it will shift to come from the north. The Valori were amazed. They had studied weather on their home world, but their planet was calm. Gentle breezes. Soft rains. Nothing like this chaos. They had never needed to learn how to read a storm. Your species has done this for a long time, Hannah said. It was not a question. Taiho nodded. Thousands of years. My ancestors did not have technology to warn them about storms. They had to learn by watching, by remembering. The ones who learned well survived. The ones who did not, he shrugged. They did not pass on their knowledge. Natural selection, Dalian murmured. Yes, Earth is a harsh teacher, but an effective one. They left the shelter and started moving southeast. Taiho went first, finding the easiest path. The others followed in a line behind him. This way, he blocked some of the wind for them. after an hour of walking, the temperature began to drop. It happened fast. Too fast. Cold front, Taiho announced. Everyone get close together. What? Minho did not understand. Valori body temperature. What is normal for you? Taiho asked quickly. Around 30 degrees, Hana answered. If we drop below 25, we start to shut down. Taiho checked a small device on his wrist. Temperature is already at 22 and falling. We need to share body heat. Share? Jiwoo looked confused. Humans are warm, Taiho explained. Our bodies make a lot of heat. Stand close to me. As close as possible. There was no time for embarrassment. The Valori gathered around Taiho. He wrapped his arms around Jiwoo and Minho, pulling them against his sides. Do-hyun and Hana pressed against his back. The human's body was like a furnace. The Valori could feel warmth spreading into their cold skin. How are you so hot? Do-hyun asked in surprise. Humans are endotherms, Taiho said. We make our own heat. Our ancestors survived ice ages. Freezing temperatures. Our bodies adapted. He started walking again slowly, keeping everyone close. Come on, we keep moving. Moving makes more heat. They walked like this for another hour. A strange group huddled together, shuffling across the rocky ground. But it worked. The Valori stayed warm enough to keep functioning. Finally, the temperature began to rise again. The cold front had passed. We can separate now, Taiho said. The Valori stepped away, but they did not go far. Something had changed. They stayed closer to the human than before. Not out of cold, but out of trust. You saved us, Jiwoo said quietly. We saved each other, Taiho corrected. I could not have found this path alone. Do-hyun, you spotted that gap in the rocks earlier that saved us 20 minutes of climbing. Minho, you warned us about the loose ground. Everyone helped. Minho felt something warm in his chest. It was not from body heat. It was something else. Pride, maybe. Or belonging. On Earth, what do you call this? He asked. This feeling of working together? Taiho thought for a moment. In Korea, we have a word, jeng. It is hard to translate. It means a bond that grows when people share hard times together. It is deeper than friendship. More like chosen family. Jang, Jiwoo repeated softly. She liked how it sounded. They continued walking. The storm was still raging around them, but now it felt different. Less terrifying. They had each other dotted at the 4-hour mark. They reached a wide valley. On the other side, they could see a blinking light. The extraction point. We are close, Hana said. Relief filled her voice, but Taiho was frowning. He was looking at the valley floor. What is wrong? Do-hyun asked. The ground, Taiho said. Look at the color. It is different from the rocks around us. Darker. Everyone looked. He was right. The valley floor was almost black, while the surrounding rocks were gray and brown. What does that mean? Minho asked. I am not sure, but different usually means dangerous. Taiho picked up a small rock and threw it into the valley. The rock hit the ground and sank. Slowly at first, then faster. Within seconds, it was gone. Quicksand, Taiho breathed. Or something like it. The whole valley floor is unstable. Jiwoo's face went pale. If we had walked in there, we would have sunk, Taiho finished. And there would be no way to get out. The team stood at the edge of the valley, looking at the extraction point so close, yet so far away. What do we do now? Hana asked. Taiho studied the valley. His eyes moved slowly, looking at every detail. Then he smiled. There, he pointed. See those rocks sticking up from the surface? They are solid. If we jump from rock to rock, we can cross. Jump? Minho's voice was high with fear. In this wind? It is possible, Taiho said. The wind is weaker in the valley because of the walls around it. And the rocks are big enough to land on. We just need to be careful. He looked at his team. Tired faces. Scared eyes. But also something else. Hope. I will go first, Taiho said. Watch what I do. Copy my movements. And whatever happens, do not panic. Panic makes you make mistakes. Stay calm and you will be fine. He took a deep breath and jumped to the first rock. Then the second. Then the third. The Valori watched him cross the valley, hopping from stone to stone like he had done this 100 times before. Maybe, in some way, he had. Maybe all of humanity had. Generation after generation, learning to cross impossible obstacles. Learning to survive the UNSURVIVABLE. When Taiho reached the other side, he turned and waved. Your turn, he called out. One at a time. You can do this. Jiwoo stepped up first. She was the smallest, the most scared. But she looked at the human on the other side, and she jumped out one by one. They all made it across. The extraction point was only minutes away now. They were going to survive. They were 500 meters from the extraction point when everything went wrong. The sky turned black. Not dark purple like before. Pure black. The wind, which had been strong but manageable, suddenly doubled in power. Then, Jiwoo was lifted off her feet and thrown 10 meters before crashing into a rock. Minho screamed as the wind pushed him toward the quicksand valley. Dahyun grabbed him just in time, but both of them were sliding across the ground. Taeho planted his feet and grabbed Hana, who was about to fly away. He pulled her down and covered her with his body. What is happening? Hana screamed over the wind. The answer appeared on Taiho's wrist device. His eyes went wide. Wind speed 500 kilometers per hour, he read. Temperature dropping to -40. Acid content in rain increasing. He looked up at the sky. This is not Category-7 anymore. This is something worse. Far away, in the observation room above the simulation deck, Commander Yuna was having the same realization. What have you done? She demanded, turning to the two High Council members who had arrived that morning. The taller one, an old Kalori with gray skin, watched the monitors calmly. We upgraded the simulation. We want to see the humans' limits. You will kill them all. The safety systems will prevent death, the other council member said. Probably. But we need to know what humans can do. This is valuable data. Yuna felt sick. She turned back to the monitors, watching helplessly as her cadets fought for their lives. Inside the simulation, Taiho was moving on pure instinct. He gathered everyone behind a large boulder. It was the only shelter in sight. Jiwoo was unconscious. Blood ran down her face from a cut on her forehead. Minho was shaking so hard he could not speak. Dohyun was trying to stay awake, but his eyes kept closing. Even Hana, the strongest of the Valori, was barely functioning. Stay here, Taiho shouted. Do not move. I will build a shelter. He ran out into the storm. The wind hit him like a wall. His skin burned from tiny particles of dust and ice. Every step was a battle. But he kept moving. He found rocks, heavy ones that the wind could not move. He carried them back to the boulder, one at a time. His arms screamed in pain. His legs felt like they were on fire. But he did not stop. Rock by rock, he built a wall around his team. It was rough and ugly, but it blocked the wind. The space behind the boulder became a tiny pocket of calm. Then came the acid rain. Drops of burning liquid fell from the sky. When they hit Taiho's exposed skin, he felt fire. He gritted his teeth and kept working. Taiho, come back. Hana called out. She could see him through a gap in the rocks. His uniform was torn, His skin was red and raw. "You are being hurt. The shelter is not done," he called back. "There are gaps. The rain will get through." He found more rocks, smaller ones now. He filled the gaps with them. His hands were bleeding. The blood mixed with the acid rain and burned even more. In the observation room, Una watched with her mouth open. "His pain levels are off the chart," the medical officer reported. "No species we have ever tested could remain conscious at these readings. He should have collapsed minutes ago." "But he has not," the Gray Council member said. There was something new in his voice. Was it fear? Respect? Both? On the monitors, Taiho finished the last gap in the shelter. He stumbled back to his team and fell to his knees. "Everyone okay?" he asked. His voice was rough. Damaged. Hannah pulled him inside the shelter. She looked at his body and felt tears form in her eyes. His skin was covered in burns. His hands were so damaged she could see bone in some places. His uniform was more whole than fabric. "Why?" she whispered. "Why did you do this?" Taiho looked at her with tired eyes. But he was smiling. That same calm smile he had worn since the first day. "You are my crew," he said simply. "We barely know each other. We are strangers." "No." Taiho shook his head slowly. "Not strangers. Not anymore. We have bled together. Struggled together. That makes us family." The storm reached its peak. The wind outside was so strong that the rocks of the shelter began to shake. The temperature inside dropped despite their best efforts. The Valori were shutting down, their bodies going into survival mode. Taiho looked at them. 4 people who had been afraid of him just days ago. 4 people who had become precious to him. He did something impossible. He stood up. His legs should not have worked. His body should have given up. But he stood. He lay down over the Valori, covering all 4 of them with his larger human body. He spread his arms wide, making himself into a living blanket. "What are you doing?" Do-hyun managed to whisper. "Humans generate a lot of heat," Taiho said. "And we can take a lot of damage. Stay under me. I will keep you warm. You will die," Hana said. "Maybe." Taiho closed his eyes. "But you will live. That is enough." The storm raged on. Ice formed on Taiho's back. Acid burned his exposed skin. The wind tried to tear him away from his team. But he held on. In the observation room, silence had fallen. Everyone was watching the monitors. Even the council members had stopped talking. "Heart rate dropping," the medical officer said quietly. "Core temperature falling." "He's dying." "End the simulation," Una demanded. "The data is not complete," the Gray Council members started to say. "And IT." Una's voice echoed through the room. "And IT now, or I will report you to the full council for murder." The council members looked at each other. Then, slowly, the Gray One nodded. The medical officer pressed a button. Inside the simulation, everything stopped. The wind died. The rain stopped. The temperature began to rise. Lights came on above them. The rocky landscape faded away, replaced by the smooth white walls of the simulation deck. It was over. Taiho did not move. He stayed where he was, covering his team until he was sure it was safe. Then, finally, he rolled off and lay on the floor, staring at the ceiling. Medical teams rushed in. They surrounded the Valori first, checking vital signs and administering treatment. Then they came to Taiho. The head medic, a Prathi made of living crystal, looked at the human's body and made a sound of shock. "How is he conscious?" She asked no one in particular. "How is he alive?" Taiho laughed weakly. It hurt to laugh. Everything hurt. But he laughed anyway. "Humans are stubborn," he said. "We do not know when to quit." Across the simulation deck, Hana was sitting up with the help of a medic. She looked at Taiho and remembered his words. You are my crew. That makes us family. She did not fully understand humans yet, but she was starting to. And what she understood terrified and amazed her in equal measure. 3 days passed. Taiho lay in the medical bay, wrapped in bandages and connected to machines. The doctor said his injuries should have taken months to heal. Instead, his body was repairing itself at a speed that shocked everyone. Human regeneration is remarkable, the crystal medic told Commander Yuna. Their cells work overtime when damaged. It is like their bodies refuse to accept injury. Yuna nodded slowly. She had read the reports on human biology before, but seeing it in person was different. The young man who had been half dead 3 days ago was now sitting up in bed, smiling at visitors. The Velori cadets came to see him every day. They brought food from the cafeteria, even though Taiho did not need it. They just wanted to be near him. The doctors say you can leave tomorrow, Jiwoo said. She was sitting on a chair next to his bed, her blue skin now healthy and bright. The cut on her forehead had healed completely. Good, Taiho said. I am bored. There is nothing to do here except watch medical shows on the screen. Minho laughed. He was leaning against the wall, more relaxed than anyone had ever seen him. You almost died, and you are bored? Dying is boring too, Taiho said with a grin. Too much lying down. Not enough action. The Velori laughed. It was strange how comfortable they felt now. A week ago, they had been terrified of this human. Now, they could not imagine their team without him. Dahyun spoke up. He was standing by the window, looking out at the stars. The High Council released a statement about what happened. Everyone went quiet. What did they say? Hannah asked. She had entered the room while they were talking. Do-hyun turned around. His expression was complicated, angry and proud at the same time. They called it a successful test of human capabilities. They congratulated themselves on gathering valuable data. They did not apologize for almost killing us. Silence filled the room. That sounds about right, Taiho said calmly. Leaders never apologize. It makes them look weak. You are not angry? Jiwoo asked. Taeho thought about it for a moment. I am angry that they risked your lives. My life? I chose to be here. I knew there would be dangers. But you did not sign up for that level of test. He looked at each of his teammates. If anyone had died because of their games, I would have made sure the whole galaxy knew what they did. How? Minho asked. Humans are good at spreading information. We call it going viral. When we are angry about something, we make sure everyone hears about it. Taiho smiled, but there was steel in his eyes. The council got lucky. Everyone survived. So I will let it go. This time, Hana sat down on the edge of Taiho's bed. Her skin rippled with mixed emotions. I have been thinking about what you said. About Jang. About family. Yes? On Velori Prime, we have something similar. We call it soul bonds. It happens when people share intense experiences together. The bond becomes permanent, unbreakable. She looked at him with her large, dark eyes. I believe we have formed such a bond. All 5 of us. Jiwoo nodded eagerly. Minho smiled. Even Do-hyun, usually so serious, looked pleased. Then we are family, Taiho said simply. Across species. Across worlds. Family. That evening, Commander Yuna came to visit. She brought a data tablet with her. I wanted to show you something, she said, handing the tablet to Taiho. On the screen was a document. An official report from the Galactic Union Military Command. Taiho read through it slowly. They are using the simulation data to create new training programs, he said. Yes, your survival techniques have been added to the basic curriculum for all cadets. The way you read the storm, the way you manage cold exposure, The shelter building. All of it. Yuna's 4 eyes blinked in sequence. You have changed how we train people to survive. Taiho did not know what to say. He had just done what felt natural. What his grandmother had taught him. What every human learned growing up on their chaotic, beautiful, dangerous planet. There is more, Yuna continued. The report includes a psychological assessment of human behavior under stress. Taiho raised an eyebrow. What does it say? Yuna took the tablet back and read aloud. Subject displayed extreme resilience beyond physiological expectations. Psychological analysis suggests that human survival instinct is not merely individual but collective. Subject prioritized group survival over personal safety, even when facing certain death. This behavior appears to be deeply rooted in human evolutionary psychology. She looked up at him. They have a word for what you did. They call it altruistic sacrifice. Most species have it in small amounts, usually just for family members. But humans, you seem to feel it for anyone you consider part of your group. Is that unusual? Taiho asked. Extremely. Most species would not risk death for strangers. Their instincts push them towards self-preservation first. Yuna paused. But you made us your family within days. And then you almost died for us. We are social animals, Taiho said. We survive by working together. One human alone in the wilderness usually dies. But a group of humans can survive almost anything. We evolved to need each other, even when it means dying for the group. Especially then. If one person dies to save 5, the group continues. The knowledge is passed on. The next generation does better. Taiho looked out the window at the stars. Every human alive today is the descendant of people who sacrificed for others. It is in our blood. Yuna was quiet for a long moment. Then she said something surprising. I was wrong about humans. Taiho looked at her. When I first heard you were coming, I was worried. I thought humans would be dangerous, aggressive, unpredictable. She shook her head. I did not expect kindness. I did not expect someone who would build a shelter with bleeding hands to protect people he barely knew. Humans can be dangerous, Taiho admitted. We have done terrible things in our history. Wars, cruelty, destruction. But we have also done amazing things. We have built great civilizations. We have helped strangers for no reason. We have loved deeply and fought hard for what we believe in. He looked at his bandaged hands. Earth made us strong, but it also made us kind, because kindness is another form of strength. The strength to care about others, even when it costs you something. 1 month later, the official report on the Category-7 incident was distributed to every military academy in the Galactic Union. It became required reading for all cadets. The final paragraph was quoted, more than any other. When asked about the Category-7 simulation, the human cadet described it as normal weather with some extra steps. When asked how he remained calm while facing death, he said, I was not calm. I was terrified. But I have people depending on me. Fear does not matter when someone needs you. Recommendation. Further study is required before integrating humans into frontline crews. Not for the protection of humans, but to ensure other species can keep up with them. That line spread across the galaxy. It was discussed in military meetings, scientific conferences, and casual conversations on 1,000 worlds. Who are these humans? People asked. What kind of world creates beings who call death storms normal weather? And slowly, the answer spread to Earth, a small blue planet in an unremarkable solar system, home to a species that had been fighting their own world for survival since the beginning of time. A species that had turned hardship into strength, danger into experience, and strangers into family. The humans were coming to the stars, and nothing in the galaxy would ever be the same. In the cadet quarters on Meridian 12? 5 friends sat together, sharing a meal and laughing about nothing important. A human and 4 Valori. Different species. Different worlds. The one family. Teho looked at them and felt peace. This was what survival really meant. Not just staying alive, but having something worth living for. His grandmother would have been proud.